I would like to invite Shri Harikiran Bagulani ji. Shri Harikiran ji is a venture investor, social entrepreneur and founder of Indian Academy, a not-for-profit that seeks to build a renaissance based on our civilization thought. Since 2015, IA has incubated and supported several social entrepreneurs and platforms promoting our knowledge systems and culture. Bagulani ji is currently raising two funds, the Indic Resonance Fund and the Indic Impact Fund. He believes Hindu soft power has a crucial role to play in meeting the global challenge of health, sustainability and peace, and advocates for policy interventions that focus on cultural startups and job creation around the world.
Thank you. The topic given to me was networking Hindu scholars around the globe, a case study. And I found that the topic was slightly limiting and I just wanted to expand it. The fountainhead of knowledge is obviously with the academia, and then from the academia it flows into the media and the NGOs, and from there into the public intellectuals, and then into the public consciousness. The problem we are facing today is the narrative is heavily oriented towards distorting our culture, distorting our faith, and therefore we need to look at what kind of a flow of networks that we need to create, not just a network of Hindu scholars, but a network which expands greater than that. So the topic I've expanded is networks of and for Hindu scholars and public intellectuals and social entrepreneurs across the globe. A case study of work in progress. Normally case studies are something has already happened, but this is work in progress. So the way we are looking at networks in Indic Academy is the academia, the universities, as well as network of acharyas, media, NGOs, the NGOs here who work not for filing public interest litigations for environment causes or other causes, but NGOs that work on preservation and protection, public intellectuals network, universities network, and finally cultural entrepreneurs. We believe that this is the network system that we need to build if we want our knowledge, which is with the acharyas and the academia, to flow into the public consciousness. So the agenda is the background and the classification and all the networks that we are trying to build. Next slide. So this was April 2015. Open Magazine, Ravchandran Gohar published this. And you can see Rabindranath Tagore and you have Amartya Sen, Pratap Mehta, and all the Marxists, lapsed Marxists, academicians there. And then in the center, the question is, where are Indian conservative intellectuals? This was the question he posed. So that was a moment of epiphany for me, personally, that my reality was that I know Madhukeshwar ji, I know Conrad ji, I know David Fowler ji, I know Rajiv Malhotra ji, I know so many of them. And yet this question that where are our intellectuals, where are the Hindu intellectuals or where are the conservative intellectuals as it goes. Obviously, the intellectuals that we have do not have an access because there's a hegemony on the media, there's a hegemony elsewhere, that there's a pipe that restricts the outflow from our intellectuals. So that moment, something snapped and I said, this has to be said, right? At the same time, the Prime Minister of the country comes up with various, short verbs. So I said, look, let me also come up with something, take a target upon myself. And I said, Mission 2020 by 2020. That was the challenge I put myself. That they should transform or provide access to 1,000 academics from our side and create or transform 1,000 public intellectuals from our side. So that was the the genesis of setting up of Indian Academy. And then sure enough, like Saraswati blessed me, my guru, Krishnamurti Ramasubramaniam, comes to me and stays with me in Singapore. And then he tells me about Tenali exam, and then I start with the blessings of Anchimat, Indic Academy was set up. Thank you, Krishnamurti, again for that. So the way we look at this mission is that we classify academics and classify public intellectuals. So the academics, again, we talk about the traditional public intellectuals and the non-traditional public intellectuals. The traditional public intellectuals are the acharyas, who teach shastras, like I was telling you, I will talk to you about the Tenali exam. And the non-traditional, again, we classify them as students, undergraduates, PhDs, and the academics. The public intellectuals, again, it's a Varnashram. Here, we talk about authors, activists, and artists. And they could be in different domains, whether it's language, history, literature, science. There are a lot of people in the middle age, 35, who are very passionate and were learning. So we classify them in that. Next slide, please. So this is a very unique model. At some point you must have a word with Krishnamurti ji about this model. It's like an open university. So there is this person in Tenali who in his house he has a Goshala, he has accommodation for 30 people. All the acharyas come there, all the students come there. They have semester exams, and then they have a Mahapariksha at the end of 5 years, and then Mimamsa, Vyakarna, Vedanta, all these subjects are taught. And this is a Graha Gurukula system where in the Acharya's house itself these people stay, the students stay, and they all come here and take these exams. Through this model, we are right now supporting 39 students. So I have a target of 1,010. So we have covered 39 students. So there's miles to go. But as you might all have heard of Mukul Kanedkar ji of Bharatiya Shikshan Mandal, and the great work that he has done, wherein all the Gurukuls across the country, 4,000 Gurukuls he has discovered, and he's preparing a catalog. IDMC is printing this catalog at the end of the year. He has conducted a program in Ujjain, and then he's come up with this. One of the things that he has come up with is called the Acharya Fund. He wants to raise 150 crores to support 500 acharyas that are there all over India. So I had a meeting with him recently, and I told him about the Tenali model. He deputed somebody, and we went and visited again, explained this open architecture, open university. So now, Indic Academy wants to duplicate the Tenali model and set up a open university kind of a structure, wherein we support the acharyas at their home all over India. They can take, and we send a monthly check to acharya, and we send a monthly check to the students, and then they come to Hyderabad. They take the semester exams, because that's where you control the quality, and then the final exam. Hopefully, if there are 500 acharyas that Mukulji wants to support, and Bharatiya Shikshan Mandal has identified, the target of 1,010 can come close by, and we'll see how that happens. So this is a very, very interesting model. Next slide. What began as a mail group with friends, wherein we started sending books every month about various books written by all the erudite scholars from our side. It just happened one day that within a year of active interaction, the same day in Delhi, in Chennai and Hyderabad, the people started meeting. And when I said a network of and for scholars, this network is for scholars. So I tell all the chapter conveners that the scholars and the public intellectuals are your customers. So treat them with respect, take care of them, and provide a platform so that their knowledge is disseminated, so that nobody sends a magazine like that and says that there are no intellectuals from outside. So Indica network today is grown so rapidly in the last 2 years we have more than 25 chapters. There's so many public intellectuals, so many volunteers that are coming across and saying that, look, we want to host talks and host chats. And we had a talk in Wellington, we had a talk in Little Rock. So there are different places wherein volunteers are offering. The inflection point came where my friend J.K. Jawarji, I asked him, sir, and again, whenever I read about the other side, I saw a public intellectual lady who was speaking in Georgetown University in Washington. And I saw this and I said, look, why are our intellectuals and why are our scholars not traveling? Then I spoke to my friend Jawarji and said, please give me a grant for our academics from India to travel without any fear, without any headache of costing and all these things. And sure enough, we started this last year. We started with Makarand Pranadji. He traveled all over the US and more than 12 cities he gave talks. That was the sort of a heartbreaking event for this kind of a thing. And subsequently, several public intellectuals, recently Sankrant might talk to you about it, we had a blockbuster tour all over with our friend Vivek Agnihotri traveling, he's a public intellectual, then Hindol Sen is traveling, several intellectuals, Rama Jayasundarji, so several academics and public intellectuals are now getting an opportunity to travel through this network that has been created. We have done in 2 years' time 185 events, talks, book launches, chats and workshops. And what we're trying to do is make it as a self-governing network. Next slide. We also look at, again, based on your Swadharma, based on your inclination, your proclivities, there are different people. So there are a lot of people who want to write books. So we have Indic Author Network that's headed by Dimple Kaul. So we give them research grants, we give them access to Gestor, where they've taken a institutional access. We give them publishing grants, travel grants, book launches, reviews. Then again, we have Indic Activist Network where we contribute and then the leverage is Surendranathi and Yogi, they look after it. We have a very active economist group where we met once. And then now we are setting up a Indic Angel Network. Jawarji has been after me, he's been trying to create a network of all his industrious friends. And saying that, look, we should run around scurrying around for money. So then we should have a formal thing. So I'm a member of Hyderabad Angel Network. So the same model I want to adopt it for Indic Angel Network, wherein all high net worth individuals can get a monthly presentation of 3 kinds of ventures, not-for-profit venture, for-profit venture, or very new if it's a technology venture, as long as the leader has shares Indic values, then it's good enough to fund. Please go ahead. This is very interesting that happened, and you must know this, Mr. Pankaj Jain, he came to India 2 months back, and so he traveled in 40 days to 21 universities, and he gave his talk on Dharma and ecology, and all Indic Academy did was to act as a travel agent, and the actual speaking engagement was fixed by him, or he was invited, and we just got the information saying that he was going to this university, and we made the travel agent. So we facilitated this whole process. So this set me thinking as to why can't we do this and think of 500 meetings? Why should any scholar have any issue? And again, I go back to my Prime Minister who talks about single trip double benefit. So he never goes to one country, he always goes to 3 countries or 4 countries. So why can't a scholar think that, okay, I'm going to India for my holidays and I want to see my mother, but if I'm going there to Bombay, let me go to Jabalpur, let me go somewhere else and give my talks. But that won't happen so easily because normally if you are a speaker, you won't call and say, please invite me. You will declare your availability. So that is why we came up with this concept of 2 things. Give me your Google Calendar and tell me willingness to host, willingness to travel. Give me your 2 calendars, you tell me. So that is why, if you are a scholar, this period I'm willing to host another academic. And this period, in December, I'm going to India or wherever, and then I'm going to travel to other places. All Indian Academy is going to do is, by creating this app and the Google Calendar, we are just going to be the back end, we are going to be the kayak or the clear trip or whatever. They'll just send the information, we have standard guidelines. The engagement is between the scholars. See, scale happens only when there's less intervention. Whatever intervention, whatever, like for example, Makaranji's talk for the first time we did in 12, I had to call up, and there were my friends, Pramod, Rajivji, all of them, they had to call up all the network, and it was a push, saying the students was coming, please organize. But the moment if there's interaction between scholars, that you're willing to come and I'm willing to travel, automatically, and we are just, it's a process-oriented app, then we can see 500 meetings happen in a year. It's just a no-brainer. So this is something which we have just launched. We are slowly enrolling the scholars. Obviously, obviously it will happen that we select the scholars who are from our own institution. The last, the other thing is inter-university center. We have a formal MOU with three universities, Sanchi University, MIT Institute and Chinmaya. Now the idea is to make Indian Academy as an inter-university center wherein we tie up. It's a global inter-university center. In India we have several inter-university centers. In Leiden University you have an inter-university center, but this would be a global inter-university center. So it's an So this would also look at granting PhD program. Next slide. The last thing is the network of entrepreneurs. Again, the knowledge from Fountainhead has to flow. Today, I'm very happy to announce that we are doing a yatra for Ramanujam. Can you believe it? Ramanujam yatra we have just announced. Wonderful young people, Vichar Vatika, they're wonderful entrepreneurs. So we are giving a grant to them. They are taking students and traversing the entire thing of Ramanujam, all the places that he was living. This is the service, this is the cultural entrepreneur, he has to offer a service. To whom? To the fountainhead of knowledge, to the Saraswati. So therefore it's very important that we have the entrepreneurs also as a part of the value chain. And this is what we are trying to create now, a global network of Indian cultural entrepreneurs. This is what we are trying to establish. So these are all the things, and I thank all my colleagues and my volunteers. It's just been an amazing journey. Thank you so much.